Hello and welcome to Brotherly Love Gaming. This is a new sort of format we're going to try here, as where Spence and I sort of, I guess, giving away the farm here. We don't actually live in the same house, despite how our first couple of videos try to make it seem. So logistically, we've really struggled recently to meet up and do things. So we decided let's just um, do like a video cast format. Hopefully, there's going to be an audio version of this. And we definitely wanted to be able to talk about our favorite 2018 games. So this is what we're doing. I made a list of my top 10 games that I played this year, not even necessarily games that came out this year, because a lot of my favorite games are from previous years. Um, but that's mostly because I keep track of every single game that I play because I'm a crazy person. So I know, Spence, you do not have as concrete a list as I do.
No,
But,
not even a little bit.
but we have some things that we can talk about.
Yeah.
So to start, why don't we just go through and quick name. I'll name like my top 10. You can name like whatever the top ones that you had, and I'll give like a quick pitch of each game, and why I liked them, and then we'll talk about them at length if you want to know anything else.
Yeah.
So the first game, this one actually came out in 2018, surprisingly.
Wait, is this in any specific order, or are
So
you doing it from top to bottom,
yeah,
or just
mine's
kind of
going to
spread
be
it?
in order just because, again, like it's in order because I ordered everything.
Okay.
I'm gonna do from like 10 to 1, and it's like I keep going back and forth over whether like my number 6 should be up a spot or two, but like more or less this is sort of what I was thinking, and like my number 1 is definitely like my favorite game that I played this year.
Concrete.
So, like I'm pretty confident like my top 3, basically the somewhere in the middle I can move around. But number 10, I'm going with the Spyro Reignited trilogy on PS4, which is a game that I did not expect to like because I bought it for Brenna, bought it for my wife, gave it to her for Christmas because she was super super into the Spyro games as a kid. One of the only games she has installed on her PS3, one of the only games I think I've ever really even seen her play ever, was one of the Spyro games. And I discovered that I actually really love Spyro. They're like, I've only played the first one so far out of this collection,
Okay.
but Toys for Bob, the developers, in remastering it, did just an incredible job. The graphics are super super modern. You would never have even thought that this was a PS1 game originally. I'm not sure, like on a mechanical level, how much they've like tightened up, but like Spyro controls really well. He's fun to just run around, and like I was under the impression, I always think of like Spyro and like Crash Bandicoot as being super similar games. Crash to me is sort of just like it's just a platformer, not just, I mean it's good, but I discovered Spyro is more like a sort of Mario 64 style collectathon, and you got these big levels and you're just running
Yes.
around trying to collect everything. Like when I first heard, I think it was PlayStation Access was doing a bunch of streams where they're like, oh, we're going to 100% Spyro the Dragon. I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. But like now playing it myself and with Brenna, I'm like, okay, what else would be the point besides 100%ing the game? It just feels like the game.
Right.
You haven't beaten the level until you've gotten every single thing in the level. So that's my number 10. Got to include that one. Did you want to mention a shout out a game, or I'll just run through a couple?
Um, if you want, we can go back and forth. I don't have 10 games because I don't list them like you do.
Right.
I don't even remember half the games I played this year, but I'll definitely say, considering both me and you played it together, I'll
Mm-hmm.
shout out Brawlhalla for
Mm-hmm.
being one of the games that we discovered this year.
Right.
Where in a time period where we were waiting for the new Smash, which is also on my list. And I'll get to that
Spoilers.
later. But yeah, I'll get to that later. But in a period where we were waiting for a new Smash game, that game came in clutch with a lot of fun and a lot of
Right.
playability, especially since obviously we don't live together. That was like the one game that we got to play online quite a bit, which was cool. And I like that they added Rayman into that, which was kind of interesting because I because with Smash adding so many different characters, you would have thought that Rayman would have been added into the Smash world,
Right.
especially considering the
So surprising.
Mario versus the Rabbids game.
We're gonna have rabbits in Smash soon.
Yeah, but I thought that was for sure going to lead into Rayman being in this Smash, but now that Brawlhalla has him, I'm kind of doubting that.
Right.
So that's probably up at the lower end of the games. I get the higher end, lower end. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Yeah, that one really surprised me when you first like said that to me, and you're like, "Oh, we should play this together," because like it is basically Smash, but there's something about it that, like, as much as it might be like heresy to say that I prefer a Smash clone to Smash itself, but there's just something about like the way it controls and the way you can move and like your recoveries I think work a little bit easier than Smash does. In the sense that like Smash is supposed to be like the accessible fighter game that anybody can play. I feel like Brawlhalla actually succeeds at that even better because it's sort
It's on
of
all platforms.
it's on all platforms now, especially too. Yeah, I actually got Zach to play it on Switch with me, um, and yeah, I think it sort of distills what makes Smash good. So definitely, I'd recommend that one too.
Cool.
So for my number 9, I don't have too much to say about this one because like so many other smarter people than me have said a lot of really great things about it. But Donkey Kong Country Returns, I played the 3D version on 3DS. Just really super super good platformer, 2D platformer. The art's great, the level design is great. It's really freaking hard at some spots. So you know how like, or maybe I don't know if you've played like any of the original Donkey Kong Country games.
I played Donkey Kong Country 3 on Game Boy Advance.
Okay, so I think that one still had like the minecart levels. So like those are back, those are hell, and they've also introduced like an even more infuriating version of those, which are the rocket barrel levels,
Oh dear
where
God, that
you have
sounds so
to
annoying.
where you have to move like a rocket in the form of a barrel across the screen, which is a really great game. I've recently got the Tropical Freeze sequel on Switch. Haven't played it besides the first level yet, so maybe we'll be talking about that one in a year from now.
Cool.
Real quick, I can just because again I don't really have much to say about this one, but I played 3 different versions of Mega Man 2 this year. I discovered I was a very big Mega Man fan, and Mega Man 2 definitely really stood out to me as one of the best ones. The Metal Blade weapon that you get from beating Metal Man is one of my favorite game weapons, like in any game ever now. It just shoots out like a little like saw blade, basically, like a circular saw blade. At enemies, you can shoot it in diagonal directions. It's like one of the only weapons you can do that with. A lot of fun, really tough platforming again at certain times. But it's been around since like the late '80s, so everybody's heard about that one by now at this point, I'm sure.
Right.
The next one I want to talk about was Pokemon. So I know that Pokemon was on your list, so we'll just dive into
Aha.
Pokemon for a
Yeah,
second.
let's dive into that.
Um,
So you have Let's Go Pikachu.
Yes, and you just got Eevee, didn't you?
Sitting right here, actually.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Mine's
Let's
in
go.
the other room.
Let's go, Eevee. So here's something that I actually wanted to bring up to you early before we even started this conversation.
Right.
I found out today that you can't evolve your Eevee or Pikachu because of it being a starter, and I was really upset about that.
Yeah.
But it's still really good regardless of that. I'm super surprised at how much I like this. It feels way less grindy than the
Right.
original
Yeah.
games. Like there's way less the less random encounters the better, because like I'm just flying through it at this point because of that. Like I got it yesterday. I played for maybe like 20 minutes last night. I played all day today, honestly.
Right.
And I think I'm already I just did the SS Annie
Okay.
in what's it called, City
Yeah.
Vermilion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm about to do that gym when I hop back on that.
Right.
What are your thoughts on the game?
I feel similarly. I wrote a piece about it on my site and about the lack of random battles, and it's like it's not even the first game that I've played that doesn't have random battles. Like Dragon Quest 8 doesn't have random battles. Bravely Default, you can turn them off. But like in Pokemon, since you're supposed to catch the things you're randomly battling, it just felt like, oh god, what is that going to feel like? And it's amazing. Like I love
Oh
the
yeah.
fact that you don't have to fight things, that you can just go through all of Mount Moon if you want to without touching a single Zubat. Um, and I
Yeah, that was my biggest thing when I went through. Like, as soon as I beat Brock, I was like, "Oh crap, I gotta go through Mount Moon. Like, this is gonna
Mhm.
suck." And then I went in, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" I just realized, like, I'm not gonna have to like get stopped by a Zubat every 2 seconds. This is great.
Yeah, it makes it more fun, especially like with like Rock Tunnel later.
Yeah,
Like it's more fun to explore because you don't have to worry about as many random things running at you. You know. And how do you feel about the catching mechanic, that it's just all catching and you don't even fight them at all? Do you like
I
it? Do you hate it?
I think it's awesome
You think it's
because
awesome?
here's the thing: when it came to the random encounters, in order to level up your Pokemon, you had to have that Pokemon out, and
Right.
you had to have them present in the fight. In this game, it's way less grindy because of the fact that when you catch a Pokemon with the new catching method,
Right.
everybody in your party levels up. So like they all get the experience, a shared experience across the board, and even in the trainer battles, it's also everybody gets shared XP, even if it is a little bit less as far as the waiting party goes, as it
Right.
states in the game. I think that's the coolest thing because I just caught I caught an Abra and a Vulpix today, and Vulpix was like level 11, and all mine are at like level 19 and 20. So I just have her sitting in my party, and she's leveling up, soaking XP, so that I can actually
Hmm.
use her, which is awesome.
Yeah. The experience share, like they've had that as like an option since I think Pokemon X maybe, but it's the first one where they were like, oh, just this is on, or this is the thing you can get immediately. And I turned it off in the last couple generations because I was like, oh, this is making my Pokemon too strong. But then I also like I noticed that I wasn't like really catching very many Pokemon anymore. I'd catch like the couple that I really wanted, and then I like my party was set, and my party would end up being super super overpowered because I just had like this was my party. I wasn't changing anybody out. And in this game, I'm finding that I'll swap out different Pokemon all the time, and I'll catch something new and just try it out for a little bit. And I'm trying different party builds because
Exactly.
like there's no reason not to. I don't have to grind if I want to get somebody up to a higher level. I can just use them more or less immediately, or just have them from the sideline for a couple battles, before they have
Get
to
the rank up
use
and
again.
then dive in. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's what I thought was super cool. And honestly, like it feels smoother than Pokemon Go does when it comes to the catching, which is
Hmm.
super awesome. Um, I found it really interesting. Like when we were playing it co-op, it was really cool that like if you swing it at the same time, you get like a boost as far as
Yeah.
catching it. And that's another whole other thing. The co-op, like Pokemon game co-op, that's the coolest thing. It's what we've been waiting for since we were children. So,
Right.
here we finally are, 2019, 2018, and it's finally a thing, which is super cool. I would say that's probably my number 2 on my list, Pokemon right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm impressed by it. Like I know it's sort of nostalgia bait in a lot of ways, but I think that they've tried some really interesting things. They've mixed up the formula in a way that I really like, and I'm interested to see what exactly gets rolled into the next game. Like I'm sure they're not going to, keep it just like the Go mechanics, because obviously, like I've seen a lot of people like within the fan base say that they really want to have actual wild battles back. You know, maybe they have a sort of casual option or a Go style option where you can just turn that off. We'll see, but um, I think they did a good job here.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, let's see where I had the text mom. I like lost my page. Um, okay, so my number 6 game is a game we're not going to actually talk about because you can't um, you can't say anything about this game without ruining it. So my number 6 game is Undertale on Switch. which I played last year on my computer, and it was great then. The Switch version is excellent. Um,
Still have
but
not played
and that's why I'm not really going to talk about it, because it's a game
it.
you kind of just have to play. It's an RPG, like a sort of more retro style RPG. But the combat is like it's turn based, but you have like options during your opponent's turn to try to avoid taking damage, and really great writing. But you have to play it. You have to just I can't say anything about it without ruining the experience of playing it. My number 5 game is one I recommended to you. So I played this on the Vita, but there is a Switch version. It's Iconoclasts. Have not quite finished it yet, but it's really, really good. It's kind of like a Metroidvania in a way, but like how, or maybe you don't. I don't know how many Metroid games you played, but typically, like a lot of the Metroid games, sort of the whole game is like one big map, and you have to sort of
Yes.
explore separate areas. Um, some of like the later Castlevania games are like that, and that can be fun, but it can also be really grating for me in the sense that I'm like, where the hell
Yeah,
am I going?
when I played the one Metroid game I have on Game Boy, I don't
Hmm.
remember what it was. That was the thing that put me off the most. Same
Yeah,
thing with Metroid Prime, because that game is just so long.
yeah. There's just like so much you have to do, and like the world is just so big. Um,
Yeah.
but what I like about Iconoclast is that it's like the setup is the same in the sense that you have to like travel around the map and unlock stuff and get new abilities in order to progress. But it's made up, like the world of the game is made up of a bunch of smaller maps. So
Oh,
you're
okay.
traveling from like distinct location. Like this is your set piece, basically. This is the town you're in, and then you solve the map basically there, and then you move on to the next piece. And I think that kind of solves the
Um,
problem that I have with a lot of bigger Metroidvania games. Um,
yes.
so definitely recommend that one. Yeah, if you get a chance. Do
Cool.
you want to do one?
Well, I know one of my other ones is on your list, so we can save that one for later. But I'll talk about The Forest. How about that? So The Forest is a game that I I saw a few videos on it a while ago,
Mm-hmm.
probably early 2017 maybe, and
I'm gonna Google this while you're talking.
maybe yeah, maybe like 3 months ago, me and my friends downloaded it and the entire game probably for like 4 days straight. We played it at night because it's kind of a survival horror game. Um, lights off, all on the mics, volume all the
Mm-hmm.
way up. It's super good, super fun to play. You just, kind of basically the storyline is you crash on an airplane onto this island and you're looking for your son. And that's all I really need to say. But you just gather resources and you can collect items and kind of
Okay.
solve the story by picking up memorabilia. It's just super well made.
Yeah. See, it's got a 9 out of 10 on Steam, so that's pretty good.
Yes, super fun game and super fun to play with friends.
Yeah, I can see the appeal. I don't know if I'm not typically into
I'm not either,
spooky
but
games, but
it's not really spooky. It can be because there's the enemies that are in the world. They're pretty
yeah,
creepy, but
the cannibalistic mutants is that is in the
yes,
description.
yes, they're cannibalistic mutants, and they just kind of try to mess your day up, mainly at night, though. So
Okay, and that's your day up at night. That's funny.
yeah,
Okay, I see there's a PS4 version, so maybe I'll actually get to play this one. Since otherwise, it looks like it's only available on Windows.
yeah, I think there is a PS4 version.
Yeah, cool. Maybe I'll give it a go. My number 4 game is one that I've been trying to get you to play, and you almost played at one point, and then you didn't. Is going to be Ni no Kuni 2: Revenant Kingdom, and it's a action based JRPG, but in disguise. So the way I like to pitch it to people is that what the stuff you normally do, like in a JRPG, is like you go to towns and there's quests and there's a big story and you do battles. That stuff is all here, and it's all fine. The combat, I think, actually is like really great. It's super fluid. You can choose between 3 different characters at any time and switch between them in battles. Some people think the game is too easy from a combat standpoint. But the thing that really sells the whole game for me is that the stories you play as this boy king who's kicked out of his kingdom, and he wants to build a new kingdom. So throughout the game, you're literally building your new kingdom. You recruit new people to come and join you as citizens. You build places where they're going to live and work. And the game, for me anyway, becomes about, okay, how do I do these quests that will build up my kingdom,
Right.
So like when you go out into the world and you meet new characters and they're sending you on what in a lot of games would just be like boring, stupid filler fetch quests, you feel a little bit more connected to it because you're like, okay, this is a person I want to have come join my kingdom. This is a thing that I'm trying to do to build my little corner of the world. And
Yeah.
and I ended up like feeling like that part of the game was really what kept bringing me back to it. Was feeling like I had ownership in this fantasy world, and I was trying to, complete the game, not just to complete the game and complete the story, but to, complete my kingdom. So you can get that one on PC. So you should check it out.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I thought about. Oh wait, no, we had that discussion. Yeah, we did.
Yes, it's on
Maybe
PC.
I will.
And there's some new
Maybe I will.
DLC for it that just came out that I haven't played yet. Apparently, it's pretty good.
Cool. Cool.
Now I'm working on Mike.
So I only have 3 more, 2 of which you have. So if you want to do,
I have 3 more as well.
Your next, I think your third one is one of mine. Or no. 2, maybe.
No, so my final 3 are not on your list. Okay. My number 1 will tie into something that you wanted to talk about, though.
Yeah. Okay. So then why don't you do number 3, and then I'll talk about 2.
My number 3 is Dragon Quest VIII: Journey of the Cursed King on the 3DS. So these next 3 games are not 2018 releases. This is a 2017 remake of a game that came out on the PS2, I think in 2005 maybe. And that was one of the games that I played for a little while on the PS2 and then lost the save file during the legendary Jack X file corruption of 2006.
Not talking about that.
and I never went back and played it again. But
like Star Ocean.
Yes, just like Star Ocean, just like Final Fantasy 12, just like some other games. But this one I really, really loved once I made myself pick it up and play it again. It's pretty long, especially even as RPGs go. But the story structure is interesting because the whole time you're chasing this one particular villain, and you're going to all these different towns, looking for clues about, okay, where is this guy's whereabouts? I guess Final Fantasy VII kind of does sort of this. But what makes it a little bit different is the fact that it's in each town, there's a little vignette basically that you have to, help somebody in this town or solve this town's problem in order to, sort of, I guess, right the wrongs in the world. So it just felt a little bit different, compared to your typical JRPG story. Combat's super, super traditional. So if you don't like turn-based combat, you might hate this. But I did like that you have these skill points you can give to each character that will eventually, it's sort of like a job system in disguise, basically, because you'll eventually have to sort of decide about, okay, who's going to be magic, who's going to be damage, who's going to be healing, that kind of junk. And it's really good. Got one of my favorite endings in any game ever. So highly recommend that.
Cool. I'm surprised. I was just thinking, I'm surprised that one game didn't make your list, if I remember correctly. So I'm pretty sure you played it in 2018. But I'll bring it up later. So
just in case it is, that's not, you know the list, or you should know the list.
I remember what your number 1 was. I don't remember the other ones.
Okay.
Well, the one I'll wait until you bring up your last one to talk about the main one. But
Okay.
the two other games that I have on my list for 2018 that I played were Battle Right. There's two different games of that. I showed you that. Super fun. It's basically a MOBA. You just drop into a match and you fight people based off of your abilities. Last
Mhm.
one standing wins. And then there's also a battle royale version of that, which is super cool. That's the one that I showed you.
Right. Okay.
Super different compared to all the other battle royales. Really recommend it. The original game, not the battle royale game, is free on PC. The battle royale I think costs like $20 or something, so that definitely not necessary. But the original is definitely worth a go. And then the other one is the Almighty Smash Bros, which was kind of consumed my last month
Yeah.
of 2018. I played nothing but Smash Bros. In order to unlock all the characters for all the Christmas and New Year's parties that I was going to, so that I could have all the characters of my friends.
Nice.
Um, so I spent quite a few hours just doing classic modes and all sorts of stuff. I haven't dove too much into the adventure mode. It's a little wonky, but apparently as you get like 20 hours in or close to 20 hours in, it actually like picks up as far as the pace goes, which is weird because I was like, I feel like you shouldn't have to, play that far
Like for so
into
long,
the
right?
adventure just to get different style of how it works. Um, but classic mode's super fun. They changed it up with like actual bosses instead of just Master Hand and Crazy Hand, which I thought that blew my mind when I did Links. That was so cool. Um, yeah, and then I'll wait to talk about my last one because I know you played it and I know it relates to your number one as well.
Right. Yeah, I've played a little bit of Smash so far. Because I got it. We got it for Christmas here. So I played a little bit of it on the trip. Um, Played a little bit of the adventure mode. It's kind of
World of
weird.
Light.
Yeah, I haven't really wrapped my head around how the whole speaker system is supposed to work yet. But I like what I'm playing so far. So I don't have very many characters to choose from. I'm still waiting to unlock Cloud because then
He's
I
OP
can't
AF.
touch anybody. but I mean,
He's
Smash is
so
Smash.
broken.
I don't have to recommend Smash to anybody else. It's just good and I like it. My number two game is Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap. This game, it came out last year on the Switch. Is how I played it. I picked it up from my library like on a whim, just because it looked interesting, and I wanted something new to play on Switch because I didn't have anything else at the time.
So that's a
And
game that you were playing that you were like switching like style
mm-hmm.
characters to do certain things. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
actually really cool.
yeah. So the whole basic setup is like you're this knight. I guess he's supposed to be. I'm not really 100% sure. And you get cursed by a dragon and turned into a lizard. And then after that, as you go on your journey to turn yourself back into a human, you unlock other animal transformations, and eventually you can gain the ability to just transform on the fly, which is where I think the game really ends up going into like next level classic territory. But it's a lot of fun. It's a 2D side scrolling action game. Again, kind of exploration based, but not like in the Metroidvania learn a map kind of deal, because it's still more, you'll explore a lot of places, but you're kind of limited by what animal you have at the time. Like it's pretty obvious that
Like
the
which way you're supposed to go.
yeah, well, it's pretty obvious that the fish character is going to be the one to go into the water zone, basically that kind of stuff.
Right.
Um, but the combat is challenging. It's but also super basic. You have a sword, you swing your sword, and you got to hit stuff. But some enemies take more than one hit. You got to dodge and move around. And then the
Right.
bosses, based on that, end up being pretty tough. One of I was like really really surprised by this game, especially because it's actually like a remake of a Sega Master System game from I think like 1989, and you can turn on like the retro graphics at any time and just flip back to
Yep.
what it originally
I
looked like.
remember your shit. And the music,
Um,
right?
and the music, yeah, you can go back to the original music. And I'm not sure like how much Lizard Cube, the developer, like tweaked that kind of stuff. If that is just, oh, this is the old game or not. But it is amazing to me that this kind of game existed in 1989, because it's kind of like you think about that era, I think I said like earlier Mega Man 2 came out in 1989, and this
Yeah.
game is just so much more modern feeling than and then what Mega Man 2 is like, so even though like Mega Man 2 is on my list and I love it. So definitely check that out. Switch versions again is super super great. It's on every platform. There might be a PC version. I'm not sure. I can look. Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Trap. Um, but yeah, it's really really excellent game. There is a computer version, so Switch, PS4, Xbox, Microsoft, Windows, Mac. So get it. It's everywhere. My number one game is a little game from 2013 called
A little game.
a little game called The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. This game,
Wow. That's all you got to say. Wow.
just wow, yeah, really wow.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of, I don't know, I guess it's kind of funny because everybody has talked so much about how amazing Breath of the Wild was, and we'll get to that in a minute. And I love that game. That probably would have been my number one game last year if we had done this. But like, holy cow! Like I played this one, and you can see how like it almost feels like this was a 2D test run for what they could accomplish in Breath of the Wild, because it's essentially non-linear. There are two worlds, so you can't get into the second world before doing certain things in the first world. But you have pretty much all of Hyrule just run around, do what you need to do, whatever you want to do.
Or
Since
low
you
rule.
and yeah, and then eventually low rule, and then you can rent or buy all of your key items, which I thought I was going to hate at first, because then I was like, oh, well, if I die, then I'm going to lose everything. But
That's right.
like, you don't die very much. I mean, I didn't die until the very end of the game, and there's just like ways to manage that as well. So you end up being able to have all the key items you want whenever you want them. If you come up to a spot that needs to have a hammer, you can just go back and buy the hammer. So you can explore pretty much the entire kingdom at any time, do whatever dungeons you want in whatever order you want. And the dungeons are like true Zelda dungeons. I know some people were a little disappointed with like the quality of the puzzle designs in Breath of the Wild. This one really gets to the core of like this, this
Yep.
one this one really gets to the core of what makes good Zelda dungeon design work. They're really twisty and loopy, and you got to go into every room and search for every nook and cranny. Just really really excellent Zelda game. If you still have a 3DS in 2019, pick it up because it's really good.
So segue, sort of. Before I mention my last game on the 2018 list,
Mm-hmm.
I have a few honorable mentions that I didn't finish because of the fact that you brought up that game. I did not finish that game. That would have probably been on my list as well if I
Mm-hmm.
did. I'm still in low rule trying to figure out what to do because, like you said, it's non-linear. It gives you no direction on what you have to
Right.
do. So you just have to get a few hours to play around and figure out what you should do. So I just haven't had the time for it. Another mention that I have is Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Okay.
Have not finished it really, only probably maybe like 5-6 hours into the game at most, but
And I heard that's a
super
long
good.
game too, so
It is
that's
very
like
long.
that's like
All
5%
of
of the
my
game probably.
Yeah. Super good, super cool style. I was very concerned when I bought it. Because everybody recommended it to me. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, super good. And then the other game that is an honorable mention that I just started, Shining Resonance, Refrain.
Okay. Yeah.
Game is incredible. I haven't got to talk to you about it at all since you were the one that got it for me for
Right. Yeah, I'm
Christmas.
interested to hear about that one.
It is super cool. I'll dive more into detail, when we're not doing this because I don't want to spoil anything for everyone. But
Right.
super cool mechanics. It's very much like Final Fantasy, but instead of like taking you out of like the main world, it just opens an encounter and more enemies come in, and it's all
Hmm.
freestyle action. Very very good.
Interesting.
And then
Yeah, I haven't played either of those last
so
two, so I'll have to check them.
definitely you would definitely really like both of them. Those are your style games, I would say.
I have too many JRPGs right now to get through for me to have
Yeah,
time,
to
unfortunately.
have those two.
So I'll,
Yeah,
I'll have to schedule some time. Maybe.
both of them are RPGs as well. They're just different style.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this last game then for 2018, and then we can talk about a couple games we're looking forward to before we sign off. Breath of the Wild.
Hmm.
So I played that this year. I started it and ended it this year, and I think I'm the one and only person in the gaming community that has a different opinion on the game.
Hmm.
So I love we've talked about this. Absolutely love the game itself. The build up, the journey to get to where you're going. It's beautiful. The graphics are amazing. The map is gigantic. There's so much to do. All the side quests are amazing. But the ending, it I'm not gonna spoil it, but I was so disappointed. I thought it was really bad.
Right.
But the rest of the game was phenomenal. So it kind of levels out to be okay in my book, but it's definitely no Twilight Princess or Majora's Mask, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've started to see some people come around like to that feeling that like the ending kind of drops the ball. I think the interesting thing about that game for me is that it makes so much of its story completely optional. Which
Yeah,
to some people is amazing because they're so engaged in the mechanics of the world, and a lot of people don't like, or they don't like, but they don't find Zelda stories to be an important part of the experience anyway. To me, I really like enjoy stories in general, so
the
that kind of
most
stuff is
important part
important
of
to
the
me.
game.
And so I was the kind of person who did all the optional story stuff just so I could get those story beats. And I don't know, I kind of feel I'm kind of in the middle on the ending. It doesn't really ruin the experience for me. I kind of get what they were going for. I think they could have executed it a little bit better and made it
Yeah,
made it feel like more of an accomplishment, I guess is how I'll say it. Made it feel more
yeah,
like I've actually achieved something basically at the end, having spent
yeah.
as many hours in it as I did.
Exactly. I just like there are so many other endings to Legend of Zelda games that just felt way more rewarding, way more emotional. That one, it was just like, hey, you did it. Here's a pat on the back. That's it.
Mhm.
Have fun. Um, in my opinion, the ending to Skyward Sword was better, and I know everybody else hates that game. So, uh, but nonetheless, those are my thoughts. It still made it on my list. It was still a great game. As always, I love Legend of Zelda. So that
Right.
was definitely a different experience for me, but it was still good.
Yeah, since again in my head I finished that like right at the beginning of 2018. I started it in 2017. So, excuse me again. So, it felt like it was more of a 2017 game to me. But
Yeah,
definitely, one for the ages, despite its couple flaws. And I'm actually saying that as somebody who really, really actually enjoys like the weapon degradation stuff, which a lot of people really hated, was one of the sort of main complaints about the
I
game.
thought it was cool.
And I
I thought it
actually,
was cool what show was like.
yeah, I think it, having all your weapons break all the time really made me experiment with different types of weapons and different types of builds, and taught me to not be attached to my equipment in a way that like normally when I play a game, I'll end the game with 200 potions, because I don't want to use anything. And you I mean, you could do that, I guess, in Zelda if you really grinded out a bunch of apples and made smoked apples, but
Right.
you're kind of discouraged from doing it just because there's stuff laying all around. So you should be constantly using things and constantly picking up new things. And I think that that's
Exactly.
a really interesting way to approach that kind of world. Again, sort of in the same vein, like I mentioned with Link Between Worlds, how it took the key items that you would normally get in a Zelda game, where it'd be like you need the item from dungeon number 2 to unlock dungeon number 3, or whatever you had to do,
Yep.
or you would get the item for that dungeon in the dungeon. You know, um, Breath of the Wild kind of runs with that idea and is like, hey, what if we make all of your equipment just something that you have to constantly refresh? And I think that approaching the game that way for me made it really interesting. I know some people hate it, but that was my read on the game, and it made it awesome.
I liked it. I thought it was really cool. I even thought it was cool what they did with the Master Sword, how it had to like
Mm-hmm.
recharge if you used it too much. Although I never ran into that issue because as soon as I got it, I went off to the castle and pretty much finished the game as soon as I made it inside the castle.
Right. And I don't think it actually even can run out of charge on those enemies. There's like certain enemies it won't even like lose any charge on. I forget what the exact rules are, but yeah, I mean, if you come back to it like in the post game, like you definitely like I've run out of charge a couple times, but you don't lose the Master Sword, so it's
Right.
fine.
Yeah.
Like it comes back,
Yeah.
it's fine. And I'm not really sure if the Hylian shield can break either. So I've had that around for a while. Like your other shields will break, which I think is
I
also nice of them
think
to not
it
break most type of.
can. I read something that I think you can break it, but it's very, very difficult to.
Hylian shield
But I
break.
don't know.
Does the Hylian shield break? Question.
Because you can get it in two places,
Wow,
I
you
believe.
can break it. Wow.
I think you can get it in two
Interesting.
places.
Yeah, I read that there's a way that you can buy a new one, like
Yeah.
again, like sort of post game. But
Yeah.
interesting.
Cool. So
Learning something new every day. So that's
those are
2018.
the 2018 wrapped up, and
I think it was like an hour.
it was definitely an interesting year for gaming. I mean, the Fortnite won Game of the Year, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
took it away from all the other deserving games. But
I
so
guess it
what do
depends on what you
you?
consider game of the year. If it's the game that everybody was talking about, or is it the best game? You know what I mean? It means different things to different people.
Yeah,
I try to think of like what was the most fun I had this year. And like in my case, it was the games that I mentioned. Yeah.
exactly, and that's why I put mine on because like even though Breath of the Wild the ending disappointed me, like the journey, like I said, the journey was just too fun, and I had a lot of
Mm-hmm.
fun with all those games that I listed. Um, but more importantly, we got a few games coming out or supposed to come out um, in 2019, which I have two that I can name off the top of my head that
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited for.
I'm sure I guess
How
what
many
they
do you
are.
have?
So I mean, the only one that has a release date. There's literally one that has like an official release date that
In
I can
two
say
weeks?
that I can say for sure. Like that's coming out, and I'm getting it, and I'm playing it.
2 weeks
2 weeks? Is it
or
2 weeks?
3 weeks?
3 weeks?
3 weeks?
It's not real, man.
Three?
It's not real.
Kingdom Hearts 3, baby.
Kingdom
Kingdom
Hearts
Hearts 3
3. That comes out on a wait. Is that coming on a Tuesday?
comes out this month, I
What did I think?
believe.
What did I think it came out on a Friday? That's so random. It can't come out on a Tuesday. I work.
Yeah, I forgot to request off of that.
No, it is the 20.
What is it, the 15th or
Is
the
it the 25th
20?
or the 29th?
It's the 25th.
My spreadsheet says the 29th. Google says the 25th. If it's the 25th, then that makes sense because that's a Friday, and I'll be able to take off. Now it comes out in
We'll
Japan
bank
on the
on it.
25th. Comes out in Japan on the 25th. Comes out worldwide on the 29th, which is a Tuesday. That sucks. Well, I guess I'm gonna. I'll figure something out
Right.
because I'm gonna be
Right.
playing that game. I bought the PlayStation Pro special edition of it because I'm a maniac, and I've been
Yeah.
waiting for forever to play this game.
12 year, 13, no, 14. But how many, let's see, 2005?
Kingdom Hearts came out
14
in
years?
2005 or was it 2006 over here, so 13 years for Americans almost.
13 years.
Almost just shy of 13
Yeah.
years.
So that was one of the two games that I had listed. Did you have any others that you have to note that you just want to list off real quick? Or
We could talk about some. I mean, to be totally honest, like if only Kingdom Hearts 3 came out next year, like I'm set for the year.
yeah, me too.
Just,
I'm going to be playing that game up and down. Plus,
um,
I have Red Dead that I just got. Red Dead, I got to complete Shining Resonance and all those others.
yeah,
So I'm going to
I have a
be have a
huge
jam packed
backlog.
2019.
As far as games that I'm interested in but don't have a set release date, I know we were talking about both picking up Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles on the Switch and
Forgot about that.
co-oping that one, so that'll be fun.
Yes.
Jump Force I'm interested in, although I probably won't buy that one. It's probably going to be a rental for me just to try
I
it
am
out.
100% buying that. I actually completely forgot about that. I didn't have that on my list. That game I'm super excited for. There's quite a few games coming out on the same day. That is one of them. Like I saw an IGN article that said that there was like that release date is going to be like one of the biggest release dates in entertainment history because
Oh,
there's
really?
like 4 games, a couple movies coming out, like shows premiering, and I'm like,
Yeah, February is packed with stuff
yeah,
because you have Anthem comes out that same month. I'm not sure if
yep,
I'm interested in Anthem, but I know like it's going to probably be like one of the biggest games. Um,
yes.
I think Resident Evil 2 comes out like at the end of January, so that's not one. Um,
Resident Evil what? Oh, the remaster.
the remake of
Yeah.
Resident Evil 2. Of course, I don't have anything in front of me right now, but there's a bunch of
So
other.
there's a couple that I can name off real quick that I'm surprised. Have you heard about the new Devil May Cry coming out
Mm-hmm.
possibly this year? So that's exciting, and I really enjoyed the original Devil May Cries.
Right.
But
I've only played the first one.
the main game that I'm most excited for, other than Kingdom Hearts, and I'm praying that it's going to definitely come out this year, is Code Vein.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah,
like
that's on
the
my
anime
list too. If it
RPG,
comes out,
Dark Souls. Yeah.
because wasn't that supposed to come out in this year originally? I don't know why I sort of lost
Last year.
following it, but
It's 2019, Alex. Get it together.
okay, sorry. It's supposed to come out last year, and it
Yes.
got bumped. Yeah,
Yes.
if it comes out, like that's one that I'm interested in too, but I'm like, I'm holding my
That's
breath.
what I'm saying. Like, if it comes out this year, that's going to be definitely one that I pick up. So
yeah, that I'm interested in. What else? There's supposed to be like another Pokemon game coming out at the end of the year. Again, we'll
that's
see.
exciting.
And especially since we'll see how they incorporate the lessons of Let's Go into it. We talked about that a little bit earlier, though. There's supposed to be a Fire Emblem game coming out in the spring sometime, like April to June era. I'm interested. I don't know if I'll get it right away. I've played a little bit of Fire Emblem in the past and haven't like really ever like latched onto one to actually play it. So I'm interested to see. Maybe this will be the one that makes me actually jump on board.
I almost, so fun fact, I almost bought you a Fire Emblem game for Christmas, but
Yeah.
I was at GameStop and they didn't have the original box, and I was like, I know that's gonna bother the hell out of him
Yeah,
if I got him this game without the actual box, and that was the only one they had of it. So I was like, I can't do that.
That's funny.
I think it was Awakening.
Yeah, that's the one I played the demo of that one, and I really
Yeah.
liked it, and then just never got around to picking it up. So, and I picked up Echoes recently, but haven't been able to play yet. So I'm on the fence. I'm like, do I want to start playing that one now, or do I just want to? Because I probably won't be
Wait
able
until the new
to
one
finish
comes
it
out.
before the next one comes out if it's actually coming out in the spring. Because then I'm like, if I get it on Switch, then I have it on Switch, and everything's great on Switch. So That's the
Exactly.
one thing. Speaking of Switch, there's supposed to be an Animal Crossing game coming out too. I have never played an Animal Crossing game. I know other people are excited for it. So
I
once they
got the
mention,
3DS one and I haven't even touched it, so
Mhm.
I should probably do that before that one comes out, so I actually get the idea of what
The
Animal Crossing is like.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. People love them. I'm not really sure. I had to try
dive in
one.
on their own.
Yeah, I have to try one to see. Also in January, Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition is coming out. I was like super on board for that one, like when it was announced, and then Kingdom Hearts was confirmed for the end of January, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to start a new JRPG right before getting the one I've really been waiting for.
That's
Um,
right.
so maybe I'll get it sometime before the end of the year. There's supposed to be a new Yoshi game coming out, Yoshi's Crafted World, I believe it's called. It's supposed to
Another
be
one of
coming
those
out.
like woolly world things. Oh god.
Yeah, this one, like the main hook of it, from what I've seen, is supposed to be that like it's sort of supposed to be played co-op. Is the main way that
Hopefully it's on Switch.
it is on Switch. All of the gameplay demos that I've seen them do of it so far, they've played it co-op, and it looks like it's a
Gotcha.
lot of fun co-op. It's got a sort of papercraft theme to it versus like the wool, yarn of the last game.
Right.
So I
It's
don't know.
like
I
a
mean,
Paper Mario, but Paper Yoshi, basically.
kind of, I guess, yeah. I mean, I really like the Yoshi games. Yoshi's Island, the original, is like one of my favorite games ever. I started playing, or I guess actually replaying, because I never finished it before, but playing Yoshi's Woolly World on the 3DS, and it is a lot of fun. But I don't know if I'm gonna want another Yoshi game, right out of the gate. We'll see how it is,
Right.
because I guess what I mean is like when I'm comparing it to all the other games that might come around the same time, and how much is my wallet going to support?
Like priorities.
Yeah, and then that's it for as far as stuff that's like confirmed to be coming out this year.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
don't really
Chocobo's
have any
Mystery
others that
Dungeon
are.
game. Um, there's a Digimon Survive game. Have you seen this one?
I have
Okay,
not. That
it's
sounds
like
interesting.
a tactics game, but with Digimon. And they've only,
Interesting.
as far as I know, there's only been like one trailer, I think, so far. It's sort of been like the announcement trailer. But it's supposed to be coming in 2019. No more information as far as I know. So we'll see if that one comes out or not. And
Nice.
that's
Cool.
uh, that's it as far as stuff that I think I'm interested in that is definitely going to be coming.
Yeah.
So we'll have
Cool.
to see how I can, you know,
Definitely see what's in store for 2019. Then we'll have to try to figure out you know what games we want to pick up at the same time, so we can talk about.
right. Well, we know we're both going to be getting Kingdom Hearts right out of the gate, right? So
Oh my God, yeah.
there's at
There's
least
no
that.
question about that. At
I'm getting
least we can talk
a
about that
console
and not be stupid.
to play. I'm getting a whole new console for it. So
Yeah, you are. Hey, speaking of which, that means you don't need the other one, right? So
So if you want to buy it, we'll
sure.
talk off mic, but
Cool.
we'll see. Okay, so that's I guess that's what 2019 is looking like. So we'll revisit throughout the year to see who's hot and who's not, I guess.
Yeah, what are the biggest successes and the biggest flops of 2019? So figure it out.
Yeah, well, I think the thing that about like 2018 that was interesting to me was like how many indie games popped up that people were really talking about a lot, and how many games that we didn't know about at the beginning of the year. Even like big games. Like we went into 2018 not knowing 100% for sure that Red Dead Redemption 2 was coming out by the end of the year. Like I don't think it had a
That's
confirmed
right.
release date yet. And that dominated the last 2 months. Same with like Super Smash Brothers. We had no idea that was supposed to be coming out. So
Oh, I know, and then boom.
and
So
then
maybe
it came out.
there might be
So
some surprises
I'm sure there's going to
held in
be
place
some
for us.
things. My one of my main goals for 2019 is to play more small games. Because like Iconoclast is one that really surprised me. I just bought Celeste, but haven't been able to play it yet. I know Hollow Knight was really big for some people last year. I know Into the Breach was another big one, but like those are all sort of smaller indie games that I never got to pick up. That kind of just appeared, and I'm sure there's some stuff like that's going to come out in 2019 that nobody's talking about right now because we don't know it exists yet. So my
Exactly.
main goal is to keep my eyes peeled for that kind of stuff.
Cool.
And so yeah, so we'll revisit and we'll keep talking. But let's wrap this one up before we ramble for too much longer.
Sounds good.
And we will chat later, bro.
Sounds good.
Peace out. Bye, everybody.
Later.